Adrian Newey has finally unleashed the AMR26, and it's not just a car, it's a middle finger to conventional physics that could either crown Fernando Alonso or burn the entire Aston Martin project to the ground. The Maestro's rebirth, Adrian Newey's radical vision. The Formula One world stood frozen as the veil was lifted from the AMR26, revealing the latest masterpiece from the mind of Adrian Newey. This is no ordinary racing machine. It is a physical manifestation of Lawrence Stroll's bottomless ambition to dominate the global automotive stage. Newey, revered as the god of aerodynamics, has sculpted a silhouette that defies every logic of modern design. Every curve of that carbon fiber body seems to whisper of speeds that will shatter the rival's morale. Yet, beneath this breathtaking visual beauty lies a massive technical risk for the team's long-term future. A massive question now hangs in the air. Can Newey's genius conquer the ultra-strict 2026 regulations, or has the maestro finally fallen into the trap of his own vision, which might just be far too advanced for the current era? The zero-pod gamble, defying failures of the past. The most controversial feature taking center stage is the almost invisible side pod concept, an extreme evolution of the zero-pod philosophy. We all remember how a similar concept destroyed the Mercedes dominance in 2022, turning a championship car into a bouncing monster that was uncontrollable on the straights.
However, Newey believes with absolute certainty that he has found the secret key that the Brackley engineers failed to uncover. By minimizing upper drag, he aims to channel massive volumes of air toward the floor to create unprecedented levels of downforce. It is a bold move that could see the AMR26 fly like a bullet or end up as a humiliating technical disaster in the eyes of the world. All eyes are now fixed on this critical area as the ultimate test of Newey's legendary aerodynamic intuition. Anatomy of the Pelican, the legacy of Red Bull glory. The front of the AMR26 features a unique wide nose design resembling a Pelican's beak, a classic aerodynamic trick that brought Red Bull double world championships a decade ago. This strategy is not merely aesthetic, it is a brutal attempt to split the air and direct it with millimeter precision under the car. Newey is blending the nostalgia of past triumphs with highly sophisticated future technology. Furthermore, the ultra-slim triangular air intake echoes Ferrari's radical approach, adding complexity to this incredibly tightly packaged aero kit. Every component at the front is designed to work in perfect harmony, creating a stable laminar airflow. However, such an unconventional design demands extremely complex cooling integration beneath the narrow engine cover. This balance between cooling and aero remains the team's biggest hurdle.
Presenter TV host. Behind the futuristic design lies a bitter reality haunting the Silverstone headquarters, a severe lack of time. Aston Martin was forced to admit they are roughly 4 months behind in the development cycle compared to top-tier teams like Red Bull or Ferrari. The main issue was their new wind tunnel, which only became fully operational in mid-April last year, forcing engineers to work under immense pressure. In the world of Formula One, losing even 1 week can spell disaster, let alone losing a third of a year. Newey honestly admitted that their research and design process had to be compressed to a very dangerous limit. Now, the team must run faster than anyone else just to match the basic readiness level of their primary competitors. The clock is ticking loudly as they scramble to close a gap that usually takes seasons to fix. Barcelona tragedy, a trial harder than expected. The initial testing in Barcelona did not go as smoothly as the Green Team fans had hoped. While other teams were already clocking hundreds of laps, the AMR26 spent most of its time behind tightly closed garage doors. Lance Stroll had a frustrating debut, completing only 4 laps before technical issues forced the car back to the workshop. The statistics highlight the depth of their struggle. While Mercedes successfully broke the 500-lap mark, Aston Martin only managed to gather 65 laps in total.
This is a loud warning bell that beautiful design does not always translate to mechanical reliability on the track. Time lost in the pits is precious data gone forever, creating a massive hole in their understanding of tire characteristics and engine performance. They are flying blind while their rivals are already fine-tuning. Honda and Aramco alliance. the mystery of new power. The powertrain sector remains a massive question mark hanging over this ambitious project, as Honda returns as an exclusive engine partner. Paddock rumors suggest the Japanese giant is still struggling to hit performance targets on their internal combustion units. On the other hand, the collaboration with Aramco offers a glimmer of hope through the development of 100% sustainable fuels, a mandatory requirement for 2026. Aramco's expertise in supplying similar fuels for F2 could be a secret weapon, providing an efficiency edge while other teams are still figuring out the right formula. However, without maximum engine performance data during early testing, no one knows for sure if this Honda engine is an apex predator or a weak point that will stall the team owner's world championship dreams. The power unit's true ceiling remains unknown. Fernando Alonso, the lion who knows no fear. At 44 years old, Fernando Alonso remains the most feared figure due to his incredible adaptability behind the wheel.
The legendary Spanish driver is well aware that the first half of the season will be a life-or-death struggle to master the wild characteristics of the AMR26. With the calm of a veteran, he emphasized that his main focus is not instant victory, but building a solid foundation for a counterattack in the second half of the year. Alonso is thrilled to finally work with Newey after years of being fierce rivals on the track. For him, this is the beginning of something massive, a final mission to add to his world title collection. Alonso's presence is a guarantee that this car will be pushed to its absolute limit, providing technical feedback that no other driver on the grid could possibly offer to the engineers. Non-stop evolution, the long-game strategy. Newey and the Aston Martin leadership openly admit that the car we see today is merely an early prototype of a long evolution. Their philosophy is to build a vehicle with massive development potential, rather than creating a car that hits its peak on day one. Newey stated that the version of the AMR26 racing in Melbourne will look significantly different from the version that appeared in Barcelona. This is a high-stakes strategy that relies on the speed of component updates throughout the season. If their development direction is correct, they could become the team with the fastest progress curve on the grid.
However, if the base data is wrong from the start, they will simply be wasting resources trying to fix mistakes that should have been avoided during the initial factory simulation phase. It is a gamble on growth. Newey's dual role, a leadership revolution. The biggest surprise comes from Adrian Newey's new role, acting not only as the technical designer, but also as the team principal. This is an unprecedented move in modern F1 history, where one individual holds total control over both design and race strategy. Some see this as a stroke of genius that will create synergy without bureaucratic hurdles, while other observers worry the workload will be too heavy, even for someone of Newey's caliber. With absolute power in his hands, every strategic decision now reflects his pure vision, without any external filters. This is a very bold management experiment from Lawrence Stroll. The success of this leadership model will determine if Aston Martin can transform from a midfield team into an unshakable dominant force. It is the ultimate test of a one-man rule philosophy in a complex sport. Bahrain, the final test at the gateway of fate. The Bahrain testing session, scheduled for February 11th to 13th, will be the moment of judgment for the entire Aston Martin team's hard work. Under the scorching desert sun, the AMR26 must prove it is not just a beautiful technical display, but a tough winning machine.
Every second on the Sakhir track will be used to gather crucial data on tire wear, Aramco fuel efficiency, and Honda engine temperature stability under maximum load. The world will see if the lost 4-month gap can be redeemed by technical magic from Newey's hands. The results of this test will define the narrative for the entire 2026 season. Are we witnessing the birth of a new dynasty, or the most ambitious failure in the history of the sport? One thing is certain, with Newey and Alonso united, Aston Martin is a threat that simply cannot be underestimated.